Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Xavier, Vice President of the UC San Diego Retirement Association. And today we're here at Santianna, which is a great new senior living complex here in Carlsbad, California. And I want to introduce the Executive Director, Chris Stark.
And we're excited to do this and to welcome you into Santianna. It is owned and managed by OAKMONT Senior Living. OAKMONT has just over 50 communities in California. We're California-based. We also have a couple in Las Vegas. But OAKMONT is a new concept in senior living in that it integrates the best of both worlds. And by that I mean the high amenity of independent living and then the care component of an assisted living. I'll just jump into this, what I think is a most compelling aspect, that when you move into your apartment at Santianna, regardless of your care needs as you progress, we can bring care to you and you do not have to change apartments from independent living to assisted living. I will state that if there's a skilled nursing need, that would be taken care of off-site. But if there's a surgery, you can come right back to your home, and we have a full-time physical therapy group here that can take care of your therapy needs. And then we have the care component that can take care and support you in your basic ADL needs. We have 6 acres here, and there are 2 buildings. The primary building is 95 apartments, and we range from studio to a large 2-bedroom from 500 square feet to just over 1,700 square feet. So I think there's 5 different floor plans that we're going to show you today, as well as all of the amenities. We have over 30,000 square feet of what I call engagement area. And that is where you have the opportunity to socialize, because OAKMONT believes in the power of socialization to mitigate the effects of aging. So everything from physical to intellectual stimulation, and then great dining opportunities, because we know how important that is. So I know that you'll be excited to see about that. Secondly, we have the Traditions Building, memory care, to care for those with dementia needs. And this building has 54 apartments, 13 of those are shared. There are different price points for those. Programming that the person has to fit into, we design the programming to fit the need of the person with dementia. To illustrate that, we have invested heavily in virtual reality. So when someone has a desire to go back to some point in the past, we can integrate that into a virtual reality program. We have a great dining program. The dining program for Traditions is on par with the dining program for the main campus here. All of the choices, and so they don't sacrifice when it comes to cuisine and the enjoyment of dining. Then there's the outside courtyard with its canyon views and the opportunity to go out and enjoy the sunshine and engage with their friends from the Traditions neighborhood as well. It is a secured campus, and it is heavily staffed because we understand the need for care for the dementia population. Little bistro area that all day we have a cookie oven that comes in here, and we make Otis Spunkmeyer cookies.
Nice.
And Pete's coffee is available all day, so plan on gaining a little weight. Our dining is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay. Wow.
And you can have dinner for breakfast or breakfast for dinner. There are 18 to 24 items on the menu. And now if you came in and wanted breakfast for dinner, there might not be that many breakfast items as there would be, at breakfast time.
Sure.
But 18 to 24 items, changes seasonally, and lunch and dinner, there are 2 or 3 specials of the day that change out every day.
Okay. Can meals be eaten in the room?
Absolutely. Okay. We do charge for delivery, and delivery is on a tray with china. It's and there is no charge for takeout. If you just want to call down, order ahead, and then come and pick it up and go back to your apartment home, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
under the umbrella of activities, we have the director both for this campus and the traditions. They each have their own activity directors. We have a fitness director that will work beneath the activity director. There's an assistant to the activity director. And then we will bring in people for teaching series on art, different mediums, sculpture, art, acrylic, watercolor, oil. I'm not an artist, probably shows, but they are, again, very focused on engagement. It's a resident engagement coordinator. And that person's sole responsibility is to connect residents with opportunities for engagement. Because if someone chooses to cocoon, that's their choice. But if they're doing it because they're not really informed about the opportunities, we take the time to integrate them into the activities of the campus. We approach life from a mind, soul, and body concept. And so we try and stimulate in those three areas every day with at least 8 different activity options.
Are the activities free? Or
they are free.
They're all free.
They're free.
Okay.
We will have on-campus activities, we'll have off-campus activities. As I mentioned, we have transportation that is included in your monthly rent. Not only is there chauffeur transportation within a 10-mile radius, but we also have, in addition to the Cadillac, we have 2 buses, a 20-passenger and a 32-passenger. So if we're going to the casino and there's a big crowd, we can take the 32-passenger. If we're going shopping and there's a smaller crowd, we can take the 20-passenger. If you need to go to the doctor, we can take the Cadillac and drop you off and pick you up.
Okay, great. Very good. Are there any library facilities on site?
There is a library. That's the first floor when
That was
we
the
walk
reading
in.
room?
The
Okay.
reading room.
Okay.
I will say it's not an extensive library, but it is a nice, quiet place to go and have a cup of coffee and perhaps bring your own book and to read.
Does the building have Wi-Fi and TV connections for Netflix? And
Included in your rent is basic cable, and the building is wired for Wi-Fi. I will say this, they say if you're a heavy Wi-Fi user, that you probably would need to get it boosted in your apartment, but if you're not an extremely heavy Wi-Fi user, that there's enough Wi-Fi throughout the building and in the hallways to cover.
So Chris, can you describe the pool and the hours of operation?
Absolutely. It's during basic business hours, which are 7 to 7.
Okay.
Same as the dining hours. And it is a 75 by 25 pool, heated, 4 feet deep. And then we have a hot tub adjacent. So if you're like me and your joints need that warming up, then you could be a little more passive before you get into the whole active mode and get warmed up and limbered up.
Great. So Chris, what do we have here?
So this is what we call the great room. And it has a capacity of, I saw it somewhere, 116.
116, okay.
And this will be used for lecture series. We also have our resident council meetings and what we call town hall here. And that's the opportunity each month for residents who would like to come. We gather, we discuss the campus, its activities, its food, any concerns they might have. I'm here to interact with residents in an open forum to discuss that. We already have planned a senior prom. We have a dance floor that we're putting out here, so that'll be a lot of fun. We'll have some live music and dancing, and So it's just a great gathering point, 2 or 3 times a month for activities and meetings.
Will you have meals up here, banquets?
We could have meals up here. This room is also used sometimes for local groups that want to come and host an event.
Okay.
And we can cater food, but primarily our dining room, and of course we'll see it in a little bit, but we actually have a wine cellar that's used for special events. So, but this certainly could be used for it. And you can see we have a little kitchenette area.
Kitchenette, you've also got, looks like a performance space here.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to invite a ukulele group to play or classical music quartet.
As a matter of fact, one of the members of the UCSD group that toured yesterday said that she's part of an ensemble and that we might want to bring in. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so we're
What
gonna
was her name?
talk to her. I don't remember, there were about 20 that were here.
Okay.
Yeah, she was excited about this space and the
Okay.
opportunity to utilize it for a concert.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. So we have 2 studio floor plans, and this is called the open one bedroom.
Okay.
And that it is separated with the walls, so you can
Wall,
have a
right.
sitting area, and bed area. And this one, I would probably have my sitting area by the window, so I could have my coffee and look out
Okay.
over the canyon in the morning, and just utilize the second part from my bedroom. We are blessed with great views here.
Remind me that again.
So for this,
Yeah.
the studio model, the buy-in is $10,000.
Studio's 10. Okay.
And the buy-in is a one-time fee that covers all maintenance for the life of your occupancy. If you're here for 10 years, there will never be another fee. If you spill your cereal in the morning and you need it cleaned up, we'll do that, clean the carpet. There's no charge to you. If any appliance breaks down, a sink backs up,
Okay.
maintenance is going to take care of that. You're not going to receive a bill for that.
Okay. And then you mentioned a monthly fee on top of that.
There is a monthly fee, and it is pretty much comprehensive in that it includes your housekeeping once a week, your laundry once a week, and laundry is basically bed linens, so we change that. Daily, we come in and make your bed and pull your trash, and then all of the activities, everything is in one lump sum.
Okay.
The only extras, to be clear, are if you want additional housekeeping, say a second day a week, or you want more laundry to be done. We do have, in the studios, we have available for you residential laundry rooms. The other floor plans have full-size washer and dryers, as we'll see in their units. The studios do not, but we do have residential laundry rooms that you can use, and there's no charge for those.
Okay. And so what was the rate? Or is there a range?
The rates will
Okay.
vary. The studios typically $5,500 to $6,000 a month.
Okay. Great.
The only additional that would be, I think, something that you would highly consider, we have underground parking. Surface parking is free, but underground parking is $75 per month per space.
Okay.
And let me add, there are 4 charging stations underground as well.
For
So
electric
I
cars.
know that question will come up.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Wonderful. The closet.
Very nice.
And then here you have some storage, some shelves.
Mm-hmm.
It's about maybe 8 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bathroom.
Which seems to be accessible, so that's wonderful.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So this is, right, it's our most popular unit.
Okay.
It's just in excess of 700 square feet. We have 44 of these on campus. And your price point is going to run in the mid sixes for this.
For monthly?
Yes, sir.
Monthly charge? And then the buy-in, you said was 20,000?
20,000 for this. Correct. And you'll notice you have more of a kitchen area here. Granite countertops, cooking surface, as well as microwave, refrigerator.
Right.
And then if I may, this is where you start with your full-size laundry.
Oh, wow. In the unit?
Right.
Okay.
Over here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Everything is new, so you have to tug a little bit.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I'll get out of the way and
Okay.
maybe meet you out here on the patio, because every unit from this level on up has either a balcony on the second and third floor or a patio on the first floor.
Okay. And you'll notice all the door widths are 36 inches wide, and that's to allow for people in walkers and wheelchairs. Balcony here. Is it possible if someone wanted a television in their bedroom? Is that an extra cost?
No.
Okay.
And we
It's already
will,
wired.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, everything is wired, and we have engineering. When you move in,
Yeah.
you get 2 free hours of engineering support.
Okay.
That might be to hang pictures, TVs, to mount them on the wall.
Okay.
So we want to help make your transition as stress-free as possible.
Now, when you talk about monthly rates, tell me about if there's a yearly cap on how much it can be increased by.
That's a
That
great
is-
question, and I think it's something that everyone in this market needs to be educated on. The industry standard is 3 to 5%. And I always tell folks, it's based on 2 things, primarily. One is, what is the cost of living done during the past 12 months or 9 months, and what is it forecast to do? And so they try and adjust for instance, if labor rates skyrocket, they cannot justify the same rent for the past year for the next year, because the reality is if they do that, they're going to start cutting labor, which is going to reduce services.
Right.
OAKMONT is really married to the value proposition. What they promise you, they will deliver. So we follow the industry standard, but having said that, there are no guarantees, and that's a tough point for people who are dealing with a fixed amount of income. The second influencer on that is campus management. And if a campus is mismanaged, then a company can try and recoup some of the loss through the annual rate increase. I personally never had to have that happen. I've done a good job of managing the campuses that I've been a part of. But this is a vulnerability. I have known some who have issued assessments. There are a lot of gotchas, and so you want to do your due diligence when you research to make sure that you're not going to be affected by that. But ultimately, high rate increases equal high move-outs. And it's not a good business plan to have a lot of move-outs due to high rate increases, because that creates a sour taste for the brand in the market. So this is something that OAKMONT is very sensitive to, and we historically run about 10% higher census per campus than our competition, and I think a lot of that is due to good management.
Okay. Good. Excellent.
This is the smaller of our two bedrooms. And this one ranges, there's a board right back there that says around 12 to 1,300 square feet.
Wow, okay. That's
Yeah,
big.
and so you can walk through and take a look, but again, you've got the laundry, you've got the cooking area, refrigerator, cooking surface, granite countertops, 9 to 10 foot ceilings, crown molding, and then maybe we'll wind up with another great balcony shot here.
Tell me, kind of stuff, a couple stay together in their unit if one of the spouses is affected with memory loss?
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So this is a very real concern and does happen at times. In this particular dynamic, the Santianna model of service is that you can stay together as long as the partner deems it to be manageable. And if it comes to the point where it's not manageable for the partner, then we have a care component here that can step in and help you to manage that situation in your apartment. If that's not your choice, then we do have the memory care opportunity here, and so that person can move into memory care. The beauty of that is you're right here on the same campus. You can still have meals together. If you want to go to traditions and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's fine. Just dinner, that's okay. So the way I like to present this, because it's a very challenging dynamic for a couple, is that you're sleeping in different bedrooms, but you're still sharing the same campus. And so you can still do life together.
Right.
The only time that I have to step in as an administrator and make a decision if the person is a risk to themselves or others. Other than that, we always work with the partner or the POA, and it is a collaborative decision.
So,
And let me add this, because our 2 bedrooms are leased only to couples. And if the partner needs to move to memory care, you will not be forced to move from your 2-bedroom apartment. That's your apartment for life should you choose. If you choose to step down to a 1-bedroom or a studio, we will certainly help facilitate that. And as one of our residents, you would get priority over anyone who comes in from the outside and wants one of those apartment homes.
can a couple bring in an outside in-home care person to help out?
Absolutely.
They can. Okay.
Yeah, they would need to meet certain criteria
Mm-hmm.
to be in the community on a regular basis. And most companies have already got that covered, but that is just the one caveat.
Is there skilled nursing associated with the facility?
So technically, an RCFE, Residential Care Facility for the Elderly, is a non-medical entity. What we do is collaborate with a campus doc who will come in, they or their PA or nurse practitioner will come in and make rounds for those who choose that service. And then if there is a need for skilled nursing, they will help to facilitate placement and care. Now, our goal, I'll be quite honest, is to bring them back home as soon as possible, to try and circumvent a rehab center and bring them back home and bring therapy right here so they can go back to the same food that they're accustomed to, the same environment. And we found that people tend to do better and bounce back more quickly that way. But it is strictly the resident's choice.
Okay. For those that are in the, as they progress to more assisted living, what's the, say a patient ends up in dementia care, what is there a specific staff to patient ratio that you have?
That's a great question and one that needs to be asked. I was kind of shocked, as most people can tell, I'm not from here, I'm from the East Coast. And the resident to caregiver ratio is one of the most lax in the state of California that I've seen. But the OAKMONT standard is attuned to acuity and census to caregiver in that ratio. So if you have a very high functioning community, you're not going to need as many caregivers.
Right.
But as acuity shifts over time, as it does, then you would add more caregivers to that staff. One of the major differences between assisted living, independent living environment and the tradition's memory care environment is the staff ratios almost double, because there's, you know, more of an acuity issue there, and the OAKMONT model of service for memory care is pretty much a personalized model where we get to know each resident so well that we're not just somebody that's helping to bathe and you know, care for someone. We're almost like an extended part of the family. You can't have that if you're overwhelmed with the number of residents. So the resident to staff ratio is very favorable in our service model. So this one is around 1,700 square feet.
Chris, we're now in the 2-bedroom, 1,700 square foot room, and it's gorgeous. Can you tell us about the availability of apartments
Sure.
on the campus here?
Sure. The option to rent here is kind of predicated by the deposit process. The deposit is 20% of the total community fee, in this case $30,000, so 20% of that would be $6,000.
Okay.
That is your deposit. When you move into your apartment home, you would pay the remaining $24,000, and that gives you access into the apartment home. If one is not available at the time, or if you want to perhaps lock one in for later, you can go on the deposit list, and as soon as one is available, then we would notify you of that. You would have the opportunity to accept or decline. If you decline, you remain on that wait list, and when another apartment home of your choosing comes available, then we'll notify you. We have a person whose sole job is to take care of that list and to work with our depositors.
Okay, fantastic. Is there any move-in assistance once a person is accepted into the community? How does that work in terms of, or is everything pre-furnished?
No, everything is your blank canvas to create, and it's interesting, so many of our families will say, well, this is my opportunity to get new furniture. I've been in my home for 20 years or 30 years and I'm tired of that old furniture, and so that goes to whoever, charity, family member, and they go shopping and buy brand new furniture. And we help to facilitate as furniture is delivered, whether it's a moving company or a furniture store. Our engineering department will help facilitate them getting that into their apartment home, and then we let you arrange it to your liking. Now, our move-in coordinator, the person I mentioned earlier, they will help you with the logistics of the time of the move, and we also have the name and contact information of people who are not just moving companies, but they will come to your home and take pictures of exactly how everything is placed. And when it comes into your new apartment home, if your headboard was east wall facing, it will be east wall facing here. And they're very specific and intentional. This industry has evolved significantly over the last few years.
One question I forgot to ask you is the rent, does that include utility charges?
It's a great question. The rent does include utility.
Okay.
It includes your cable. All of your expenses in your apartment are covered.
Once a person puts down a deposit, and let's say for some reason in life they have to cancel the contract, is that deposit refundable?
100%.
100%. Okay.
In addition to that, if someone moves in and they're 90 days in and they say, I don't really like this life experience, the state of California regulates a refund, and it is on a declining scale from 30 to 60 to 90 days, but you can get a portion of that back up to 90 days.
I may have asked this question in a different way, but how do you bill for assistance as a person needs more and more aid or assistance in daily living?
I'm glad you asked that, and we haven't covered that prior to this. And I know I mentioned OAKMONT a lot, I'm very proud of the way that they do business, but instead of just putting you into a tier, they give you a customized blueprint. I say it's like buying a custom suit versus a off-the-rack suit. You're not going to get what you don't need. And so it is a point system, to be clear. And if you have low needs equals few points, complex needs equals higher points. And I illustrate like this: if you need bathing assistance or toileting assistance, that's different from medication management, because medication management has to be administered by someone who is certified for that. So the criteria for the caregiver is a little bit higher but the point system is finely attuned to that, so you're not paying a high level care fee for something that is performed on a level that's not quite as complex.
Okay. Is there any question we haven't asked you that most people do ask that we somehow have forgotten about?
Yeah, there is one question that is where am I from? Everybody asks me that question. I had one person ask me, Chris, what part of California are you from? I said, oh, come on, you know better. You know I'm from California. But I'm very proud to be here now.
Southern.
Yeah, Southern.
Georgia,
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay.
The
Great.
University of Tennessee.
Very good.
Second only to the University of California in San Diego.
There you go. Good answer. So, Chris, tell me, what is this thing I noticed in the rooms?
I'm glad you asked that. So this is kind of an ambient security in that when you open this door first thing in the morning, it registers at the concierge desk. So we know that you're up and at 'em. If we do not see any action by this door being open, then we will probably reach out to you, give you a call, and if you don't answer, then come and knock on your door. And the obvious reason for that is if there has been an incident, we want to be there to assist you as soon as possible.
Fantastic. This is the Madrone Studio Suite. It's 450 square feet. So, as you know, there are a number of retired elderly people that have long-term care insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you accept any of those?
We accept all of those,
All of
and
those,
I'm
okay.
so glad you asked that question. People have a lot of questions about long-term care
Yeah.
insurance. Basically, and you probably already know this, but long-term care insurance kicks in when you need care. So to have your long-term care insurance activate, there would need to be a care plan initiated on our part that says you need support in these areas of daily living. And then the person from the insurance company that comes out and qualifies all of that, we give the final seal of approval. We also work with our veterans who receive aid and attendance for that benefit as well.
Okay. Oh wow, this is nice.
How often does it get used usually?
Every day we have a different movie, and this is part of the activities that you were asking about. We have a different movie every evening, so maybe after dinner you want to come up with your crew, and if there's one, we have 22 seats, I believe, in here. If we have a movie that there's more people than seats, then we will re-show it, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We have our own popcorn popper here. Snacks will be available, and then we'll have showings throughout the day. And if you wanted to use it for a private showing, then you would just schedule that through the activities director.
Okay.
And you can have your own pajama party in here if you want. And
Are these chairs reclinable?
they are not.
Okay.
They are not. I thought that they were until I tried to recline and I pulled a muscle in my back, but
They're beautiful.
they are. And they are extremely comfortable. Bring your own footstool.
So this is the activities room. Tell me
Obviously,
about-
under construction.
Yes, yeah, of course, of course. So tell me what would happen. I see a Scrabble board that you can actually rotate. That's great.
Yeah, there are a lot of different, people have asked me, can we come down here and play cards? This would kind of be the residence room. And I will say that our model is resident-centric in that there is a group of residents that forms the activity committee, the dining committee, and all of these give feedback to the resident council, who then talk with me about any concerns they have. But this is kind of a what do you guys want to do kind of room. And so if it's some sewing, art, games, puzzles, this is an interactive IN2L. I don't know a lot about it, but they say it's fantastic as far as all of the interactive things that you can do on the IN2L. So
Okay. I don't know what that is, but.
But I guarantee there are gonna be people that are gonna Google INTL
Yeah,
now.
yeah, oh yeah, I will, definitely.
Uh-huh.
And then you got the activity schedule here. There looks like there's a huge daily list here. This is quite extensive.
Right.
You've got Padres baseball game, so do you put people on one of your shuttles or bus?
If
Is
they're
that-
playing, right?
Okay.
I think they decided to play now this year.
Yeah, March, well, that was yesterday. Yeah, that must, I don't know. what
That was
is.
scheduled before the, I think before, I don't know.
Before the strike.
Where the strike
Yeah,
is.
yeah, okay. But you've got a St. Patty's Day party. Oh, and of course bingo, which would be probably one of the most popular games.
Well, notice it's bingo and brews, so
And
you get
brews.
to,
Okay. You get
beer
to
and
drink
bingo.
it. Okay. Mexican train dominoes. I love that game. That's fun. Beautiful. Wow. That's very impressive.
yeah, and I'm glad you pointed that out because you see, as I mentioned, the whole body, soul, and mind.
Right.
We start at 9 o'clock with a mindful meditation class, and then
Mhm.
there's the flex and balance class, and
Mm-hmm.
the great courses series, which would be the mind, and it just, you could see the amount of activities per day.
Mm-hmm.
Something has got to resonate with you on that list.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's very diverse.
Mhm.
Okay. Great. Oh wow. This is nice.
Thank you.
So this is what, about a 1,500 square foot fitness room? So you have some treadmills and elliptical machines, towels,
Bikes.
and bikes. Plus weight. There's a weight machine here. It's gorgeous.
That's your resistance bands. You just pull them out and cut them off because resistance exercise is big now.
Oh, he's here.
The red, yeah.
Oh, it's
blue,
like
green,
a thick rubber band.
yeah.
Oh,
And depending on the exercise, you would have the color band that you need for the resistance.
I see. Okay.
What would you say is the most popular fitness activity that they do?
By far the chair exercises, it's kind of a wake up your body kind of thing. And the greatest challenge in aging is balance. And this type of chair exercise, it helps you, it focuses on some core strengths and some balance issues. It graduates from, your upper body to your lower body and your core. And it's something that is done, I believe it's a Monday through Friday exercise, and people are just religious about it. So, I kind of say the best for last because this has such a wow factor.
Yeah.
When you walk out, and this is what the mayor told me, he said that the architecture, the placement, is going to just maximize this property. Then we have resident gardens.
Okay.
You're a gardener, you can have a piece of a raised garden. And our chef has one that he does herbs. He integrates these. And I'll talk about it right there. But
Okay.
Oakmont has a standard. That is a barbecue area there, obviously incomplete. We're still under construction, but we're looking forward to that cruise ship experience when you're out by the pool and they roll out the grills and they start cooking and you're
Right.
smelling all of that. Yeah.
What's the moving date for residents?
We are looking now, if everything goes with licensing as projected, we're looking at the first week of May.
First week of May, so soon.
If you want to follow me, we can get
Yeah.
a shot of our pickleball court.
Oh yeah, pickleball is the rage now. Oh,
Yeah.
so this is pickleball court. This is a custom pickleball court, actually, right? It's not a tennis court turned into a pickleball court.
That's correct.
This is probably the most popular sport now for
Boy, it's
elderly folks.
I understand it started in Seattle.
Is it really?
I'll show you first the underground parking.
Okay. Oh wow.
So
There's an extra charge you said for
$75
underground.
per space, and that will be reserved. And you can see there's an EV charging
Station.
station there. There are 4 of those in the underground parking. All right.
Very good.
We have the lime kitchen, because this will be an opportunity for, let's say one of your groups wanted to have a little cocktail party. They could rent this. Or if a member that lives here reserves it, there wouldn't be any rent, but you can kind of stage here and present in the wine
So
cellar.
this is where you put the cheese and crackers together.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You have restrooms and then the grand room for the state. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready. Wow. Beautiful.
There will be a couple more tables in here.
Sure. Is this gonna stay unfinished with storage? Which is good.
Yeah, that is that.
Yeah. Right. Beautiful.
And you will be greeted here.
Uh-huh.
This is kind of a holding area, and then you'll be seated.
Okay.
So again, the dining is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And these menus look like they're printed out maybe once a day or once
Yes,
a
oh
week.
yeah, every day.
Daily menus.
The daily and once
Wow.
a week, the left side.
Okay.
So let's say you come, what's it, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
or 10 o'clock in the morning. That's perfectly fine. Go on in, you have the menu, and again, if you want to eat breakfast at 11, you can have it. The options might be a little bit limited because the breakfast menu, the full breakfast menu might have completed at, say, 10 o'clock. If you come in at 10 o'clock and you want a steak, and that's on the dinner menu, you can still have that. Yeah. Everybody's body clock is different.
Yeah,
And OAKMONT dining policy certainly supports that individuality. But as I mentioned earlier, you have 18 to 24 different choices every day. Between the standard, seasonal, and the daily specials, which there will be 2 to 3 different options for lunch and dinner, many choices. So if you don't mind, I'll show you the private dining room,
Yeah.
then the lounge, and then the
Yeah.
dining room.
Yeah.
Let me turn the fireplace on.
So why are there 3 areas for you? It depends on your.
Great question. So the private dining room, maximum occupancy 48, is for those special events. Let's say you and your spouse, significant other, had a milestone anniversary.
Okay.
50th year. You wanted to invite family and friends. You can reserve the private dining room. It will be served right out of the kitchen, and we'll just present it right here. It's your room for a day. So this can be reserved by any resident at no charge. Meals for non-residents would be charged, but there's no charge for the room. It is not reservable on holidays, but any other time you can reserve that.
Wow, it's gorgeous. Wow.
Welcome to the lounge.
Beautiful.
This is open from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock every day. And we have beer on tap. We also have wine, and cocktails will be available for an extra charge. We have appetizers, small plates that you can have. I like to think that you would meet your friends in here for a drink, maybe enjoy it here, or go out by the fire pit, which you can see is still under construction, and enjoy a cocktail, an appetizer, and then you can go into the dining room. Or if you choose, maybe you're dressed more casually, you'd like to just stay in here and have dinner, you can do that as well.
So it's really like a high-end bar. So this is a little bar space.
Well,
Yeah.
our friends from the Northeast will appreciate this. I call this Central Park out here, and I refer to this as the Tavern on the Green.
There you go. Okay.
And every time I say that, people say, well, we can tell you're a tourist.
It's gorgeous. So pretty much any drink you want, you can order here.
Yeah, from coffee drinks, espresso, cappuccino, all the way up through full cocktail. This is the main, and again, 7 to 7. You will be seated and served. Some people ask, is it like a buffet line or am I served? And I will tell you, you are seated by a host, then you are served by a server, and it's the full dining experience. We have a pizza oven. So we have pizza days and specialty pizzas. As a matter of fact, your group yesterday, we did flatbreads for them. We had 6 or 8 different flatbreads we kept bringing out in addition to everything else. A rotisserie oven, and kind of a nice little area here where we can prepare and present. So Daisy is one of our regional front of house specialists, and by that we mean she trains people on how to take care of residents when they come in for the dining experience.
Correct.
And as a matter of fact, Daisy today is training Maria, and Maria is going to be one of our lead servers, so we're excited about having Maria. But can you tell us a little bit about the dining experience here at Oakmont, or Santianna in particular?
Of course. So we advertise fine dining. With that comes a little bit of more elevated service for our residents and guests. That means, you know, taking the time to garnish your dish, the presentation. We deliver from the left, pick up from the right. You know, from polishing your silverware to making sure that your table is well set up, that your chairs are sanitized after every use, that our menus are presentable and seasonal, of course. And of course, teaching the staff how to properly greet our guests as well, and be very, very well knowledgeable about our food. So my job is to teach them all of that. And I go from Oakmont to Oakmont to implement those standards, of course.
Great.
Yes, so that is my job.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.